Greetings everyone, welcome to Music is a Journey. I'm Peter. Today's video is for Craig over at the Spirit of Vinyl. He's having a contest to celebrate his birthday coming up on January 6th. For the contest, he would like us to spell January using album titles, band names, song names, and all that sort of thing. January 6th. And the contest, the prize, he's giving away a Black Sabbath picture disc album, vinyl album, as well as he's giving away a couple on CD, a couple of Black Sabbath albums on CD. Craig is trying to hit 300 subscribers. He is just about there. I heard somebody else say that he is at 292. I think that was Daryl, the Northern Vinyl guy. I watched his video just a couple of hours back. I've actually seen quite a lot of these videos. I was originally thinking to do mine a little bit later on because I have a few more videos to get done before the end of the year that I would really like to do. In fact, just last night, I recorded the last video in my series about revisiting recent releases by old bands. And I had so much trouble trying to get that video into the computer. I mean, first of all, during the recording of the video, I constantly had to stop because my cat Miko came in and she was rubbing against stuff, making noise, and then she was climbing up on the desk, and I kept getting distracted and I kept stopping and starting and stopping and starting. And then when I finally tried to load it into the computer, I couldn't. It wasn't showing up in the list of things from my phone to load in. And to make a long story short, it seems that I accidentally had knocked it over to slow motion. So I found I had like a 1 hour and 29-minute video of me going. So I'm going to have to do that one again. Enough of that though. Let's get on with Craig, Spirit of Vinyl. So we're going to spell January and January 6th. And also Craig had a thread a couple of months back about time, and I really wanted to participate in that. However, it was up just before I was getting ready to go to Canada. So I had a couple of videos I wanted to get up before I left. And then also I had some to do after I came back. So I never got around to Craig's thread. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the contest entry and the time thread together. The band names will all be related to the contest entry, and song titles will be related to the thread about time. So here we go. First up, this is a band called Jadis. I'm pretty sure it's Jadis. It's not Jadis or Jadi or JD. I'm pretty sure it's Jadis. They are or were, I'm not sure, a British neo-prog band, not brand, a neo-prog band from the 1990s. I was checking out a lot of neo-prog bands about 10 or 12 years ago, and I came across the name Jadis. I checked out some of their stuff, and it fit in with other bands like IQ and Pendragon and Galahad and so forth. So I added them to my list of bands to get a hold of, but it was just very difficult to buy their CDs at the time. As it happens, I just thought about them a few days ago, maybe a week ago, and I guess my phone can read my thoughts because later on when I opened up a flea market app, one of the recommended items was this album here. So yeah. The price was really good. The album was listed as used with some minor damage, but this is almost perfectly pristine. I mean, there's just a slight marking on the jewel case that it was rubbed against something. There is a tiny little white fold in the top corner, but that's really, it's as good as new. So great price for that. So I don't know what album this is in their discography. It's called Somersault. I don't know if it's their fourth or their fifth album. It's from 1997, at least I know that. And there are 7 tracks on here, plus 2 bonus tracks. And it is track number 5 called Tomorrow Always Arrives. That is my contribution to the time thread with Tomorrow Always Arrives, and J in January with Jadis. So next up we have A, and I'm going with the Alan Parsons Project. This is, I'm not sure what album, again, I don't know what place this is in their discography. It might be their 6th album. It's called Ammonia Avenue. And I remember this song coming out, oh Jesus, around 1994, isn't it? There was a video for this, like a comic book type thing, like you were looking at a kind of love story in a comic book. And that was for the opening track called Prime Time, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was not Prime Time. Prime Time was one of the singles. What the heck was the song now? Don't Answer Me. Sorry, yes. The comic book like video was for the song Don't Answer Me, which is a song I really love. And both Prime Time and Don't Answer Me are sung by Eric Wolfson, who usually sings 2 tracks on each of the albums, and it's usually his songs that become the singles too. So yeah, for A in January, that's Alan Parsons Project with Ammonia Avenue, and also the opening track Prime Time for the Time Thread. Next up, I was just going through my ends to think, let's see if I can pick out something interesting. And I actually did mention this video in a previous thread almost 2 years ago now for Stefan 73, who is over in the Netherlands. And he asked us to show Netherlands bands for one of his threads or contests or something. So I found them again. Here we go. Nice Beaver. This is a band from the Netherlands. They are a prog band. Modern prog band, anyway, modern day times. This is from 2015. I remember that I wasn't totally keen on the lead vocalist sound, but certainly the music is really good. So for the N in January, we got Nice Beaver, and there is a song. Actually, there are 2 songs on here. One, track number 4 is called Timeline. And track number 6 is called The Time It Takes. So we have 2 time tracks on here. So that's Nice Beaver for the N in January. And yeah, in Canada, yeah, we'd say that sometimes. Nice Beaver, eh? Anyway, next up for the U in January. Okay, I've got this in a little plastic thing, so it's probably going to be really reflective, but this is an Uli Jon Roth album. So Uli Jon Roth, of course, Uli starting with a U, if you can see that. Former guitarist for the Scorpions, who's been doing a solo career, releasing albums on and off since the late 70s. And I don't remember what this is called now. This is Under a Dark Sky. Sorry, it's in katakana here because I have the Japanese obi strip on here. So Under a Dark Sky. This was the first album in what was supposed to be a trilogy, and I don't know if the other 2 ever got done. I did check back a few years ago and didn't see them. This is a conceptual album, and although it's kind of hard to see, there's just like a long list of songs that are like broken into parts. So I actually have not listened to this. This came out in 2008. I haven't listened to it since probably like 2008, 2009. Around that time, I was getting back into the Scorpions, and I really liked the Uli Jon Roth era Scorpions, so I wanted to get a couple of his albums. I got the one Earthquake, I think the first one he did after leaving the Scorpions, and then I got this one. This is a very big production thing too, like full band, orchestra, choir, and all that. So I've been thinking the last year or so, I really should listen to it again. And when I was checking, what should I do for you? This one came up, and I thought that's a good opportunity to mention this. Now, the time track on here is the second track. It's Tempus. Now I forget, is it Fugit or Fugit? Tempus Fugit. I think it was Tempus Fugit. Yes, it was a G, right? Like a hard G. Tempus Fugit, which in modern day English is translated as time flies, but I read that Fugit actually means flees, or yeah, basically flees. So time flees. Basically the same idea that time is always escaping from us. And it also has the kind of modern day meaning like time flies or time's a wasting, like time. Don't waste time. It gets away too quickly. But I also thought it was interesting that Tempus Fugit, we can see also the English word fugitive in there, someone who is fleeing from something. So yeah, and maybe also refugee is also in there. So definitely fleeing and running away. Tempus Fugit. I know Yes also have a song with that title, and a couple other bands do as well. Anyway, that's for the U in January, Uli Jon Roth and Tempus Fugit. For the time one. Tempus, of course, is time, right? You knew that. Okay. Then we've got another A in January, and here's an album that I have not listened to for quite some time. This is a band called Alpha Centauri. What was interesting about Alpha Centauri is that they were an American rock band from Colorado, and they just weren't really getting anywhere big with their music, so they went to Canada and went to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Why not Toronto? I don't know. Winnipeg, though, was, was a pretty hot scene anyway. So they went to Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it was there that they released their debut album, and it might also be their one and only album. And if you search YouTube, there is, I think, a live in studio on television. Okay, they performed on the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They did some live performance on that, or in-studio live performance. You can see a video of that on YouTube. That is Alpha Centauri. And what is the song? For the time thread, One Night at a Time. That's what it is, One Night at a Time from Alpha Centauri. Moving on to R now. I thought this might be a good one for Craig to check out if he hasn't ever heard of Riot City. Recommended. This is new wave of traditional heavy metal band, very much inspired by classic Judas Priest. I think you can even get that impression from the artwork on the cover here. This was their debut album from 2000 and something. I think it says 2019. Somewhere around that time anyway. There's the gang inside there. So Riot City, and the opening track is called Warrior of Time. So there we go, the R in January and Warrior of Time for the time thread. Now, I was actually, for the Y in January, going to go with YNT, because one of my favorite ballads, like power ballads of the 80s, is called This Time. It's from YNT's In Rock We Trust album. But I thought, as much as I love the Yardbirds, I rarely ever talk about them. So here we go, the Yardbirds. We can see both Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck here on the cover. Exciting times. The fact that only the two of them only played together in the band for something like 3 or 4 months, but they did record some tracks at the time, and one of the tracks they did record with both of them on guitar is a song called Happening 10 Years Time Ago, which is one of my favorite Yardbirds tracks. So that's on there, the Y in January, Yardbirds, and Happenings 10 years time ago for the time thread. What were you doing 10 years ago? I don't remember. Anyway, whatever. And then finally, for the 6th in January, I'm going with a band called 6x6. And this band is 3 people. And I don't remember who 2 of them are, but one of them is Jim Crichton from Saga. He's on here. This is a really cool progressive rock album. So yeah, I guess in a way a bit like Saga, they can rock out pretty hard at times, but there's also that progressive attitude in the music. A very good album, by the way. They've since released a second one. And there is a song on here called Live Forever. And forever, as you probably know, is a very long time. So if forever is just too long for you, there's also a track here called The Battle of a Lifetime. So Battle of a Lifetime, you can go with that then. That's a little bit more manageable. And that is my contribution to Craig. Did I mention I was going to put his link to his original video in the description below? Because this is take 3 of this video. Hopefully it's not on slow motion. So there we go. Craig, good luck. You're going to reach 300 pretty darn soon, I'm sure of it. And you will just keep going up from thereafter, because he's got a really cool channel. Craig's into a lot of stuff that's similar to me. We like a lot of hard rock and heavy metal, but Craig also has some other things that he's into, which is sometimes quite a surprise to hear him talk about. So do go over, visit Greg Brady. Go over and visit Craig if you haven't already. Check out some of his videos, give him some likes, leave him some comments, and most importantly, give him a subscription. Help him get to that 300. Craig, we'll see you before your birthday anyway, I'm sure. But until then, thanks everyone for watching. Catch you in another video. Catch you in my visiting the recent albums of Styx video, which I will try to record later today and hopefully get up later this weekend. All right, bye folks. Thank you.